Hello everyone, welcome back. This is the sixth and final part of our look at Pocket Toys Ruiner Bee Combiner Set, which is their take on the Combaticons and Bruticus. We've already looked at the individual bots, so now we're going to get them formed up into their combine mode. First, I'll bring Onslaught here. One thing I neglected to do in the last video is this section here needs to come up. Rotate it around, and we want the barrels angled like that. On the bottoms, we're going to flip up these window sections to expose the combiner pegs. Need to get some leverage from a screwdriver to bring these down. These were a little tight when I initially moved them, but they've loosened up pretty good now, so they don't give me too much trouble. We'll bring in a leg. I'll start with Brawl. So this T-shaped peg is going to go into this hole right here. I recommend for both leg bots, especially Swindle, because his joint is ridiculously stiff, is leave this part down until you get the peg all the way in, and then you can use the leverage from this peg to straighten out each leg. But we'll bring Swindle in now. So just like Brawl, get that peg in there. That's going to cause some issues because the front section of the car here comes in pegged like that, so while you're trying to straighten this out, cause some issues. So just hold that in and slowly, at least on mine because it's so tight I don't want to break anything, get that ratcheted up. Almost there. Let's see. So we'll have the legs looking like that. Next up, we're going to bring in this piece from Onslaught's trailer. What we want to do here is there are hinges, wheel sections here. We're going to bring them up like that, and then the wheels are going to fold down like that. So bring the other section up, fold the wheel down like so. And we'll bring in the big double cannons from Onslaught, and we're going to use these two pegs to go into these two holes right here. Just line that up and push it in. I'll bring in bot here. What we're going to do is these two tabs on Onslaught's back. I'm going to go into these two slots here. So line that up and plug that in like so. And we'll bring in this piece here. It's also going to go on the back side. So these two pegs go into those two ports right there. Put it up and try to get it pushed in. The pegs on these are really tight on mine. They're like slightly too big, but you can get them lined up. So Bruticus is back. It's gonna look like this. And for the front torso, bring in the head and chest piece. And what's going to happen here is these two tabs are going to go into these two slots up here. And then there's a small tab under here that's going to go into this slot right there. So just get everything lined up. And to do that, you can push everything into place. So it looks like that. Then we'll bring in the crotch piece. And there is this tab right there. Just going to go into that slot right there. that lined up. And push it in. There you have Bruticus's torso finished up. Before we get to the arms, one thing I forgot to show here is the arm combiner port is in here. It's tucked in by default. So if you get the arms out of the way, it's right in here. You can just get your finger. This one seems to moves pretty freely. Let's get that up till you hear the ratchet click, and then you can straighten that out just like that. And to get on his arms, we're going to put the two tabs from the shoulder section here into these two slots on blast off. Get that lined up and pushed in. And get that rotated to where you want it. Bring in Vortex for the final arm. And same thing, just line it up, push it in, and get that rotated to look how you wish. There we have Ruiner B, or Bruticus, in his combined mode. It's a really neat looking version of Bruticus. All of the colors of the individual Combaticons, along with the chrome, gunmetal, and the purple for the combined mode parts, makes it look really eye-catching, in my opinion. I'll take a closer look at him. Got a spot here where the Decepticon symbol would be. There from side, back, all around looks really nice. As far as his posability, head can go up and down. This just kind of sits in here, so it can go up and down a little bit. His head will turn all the way around. Antennas move. There's a little bit of up and down for the head. For each arm, you got ratchets, so you can get a little bit of movement up and down for shoulder shrugs. You can spin the arms all the way around. Over at the elbow, you have rotation here. If you hold that in place, you also have separate rotation at the forearm. You have a ratchet bend at the elbow. Just have to be careful. The waists on these guys like to unclip, so you just hold. You might have to hold that in place to get whatever bend you want. Go that much of a bend. Hands, we have rotation at the wrist, and again the fingers and thumb are fully articulated. For waist, he has rotation at the waist. For legs, I'll demonstrate brawl, since the knees on Swindle are really tight. You have this hip skirt here that can move up. But even with it out of the way, you can only go forward about that far, back about that far. If you want more movement, you could take these two pieces off, and you could pretty much go full distance. Bring the legs out like that. You have rotation at the thigh here. For the knees, you can bend that far. And for the feet, you have this little movement here at the toe. As well, the whole toe can move up quite a bit. You don't have any side-to-side motion with the feet, but you do have big ankle rocker here. So all in all, pretty good posability. So the only big limiting factor here is the crotch plate and the missile rack on the back. They hinder the leg movement. But oh, that's pretty good looking combiner. For Bruticus's weapon, we're going to bring in all the individual weapons from the Combaticons, aside from the double blaster from Blastoff, since that stays on Blastoff in arm mode. We'll bring in Onslaught's rifle. I'll fold up tip of the cannon, bring this piece up like that, and fold down large handle, Bruticus. Then we are going to take in this weapon here from Blastoff, and we are going to fold it up like so. And this peg is going to go right in here. I'll just plug that in like so. I'm going to take in the large blaster from Swindle. I'm going to fold up the small handle. Then we'll bring in Swindle's pistol. And we'll use this peg to plug in right here. Just like that. And then this port here is going to take this peg right there. So just line that up like that. We'll bring in Brawl's weapons. And this tab is going to go into this slot there. And there's a tab right here that will go into this slot on there. So line that up. Everything pegged in. Once you get one of these weapons in, then the whole weapon starts to become more structurally sound. It is kind of floppy until you get that piece in. And get the other one in as well. So like that. We're almost done. Now we'll take Vortex's miniguns and use this post to plug into the port on the side of the weapon there. Same thing on the other side. Then finally we'll take the last little gun from Vortex, and this tab is going to go to this slot right there. So there we have the combined blaster for Bruticus. And I like it when companies do this. You have a lot of bots together as a team. They take their weapons to form a bigger weapon. So we have that. Also packaged in the box was a Shockwave, a non-transformable one. But it's really nice colors on it. So the thing you have to do here is just flip up the sight here. I'll take a closer look at Shockwave. Got some of that clear purple plastic on him. Light purple, like he had in the cartoon. Silver. Rubber hose. Looks really nice. And they packaged him with Bruticus as one of the episodes in the G1 cartoon. Bruticus used Shockwave like a pistol. There you have the two weapon options for Bruticus. To get him to hold his weapons, in each hand, he has this little slot here. So both weapons have these tabs. You just line the tab up with the slot and push it in. It holds pretty securely, and if you want, you can have him wrap his fingers around the weapon. Kind of like that. It's a big weapon, but he holds it up pretty well. And of course, we can do the same thing on the other hand. Bring in Shockwave And plug him in there. Get the fingers wrapped around. And this side's a little bit looser. But try to get a good angle on there. So you can have Bruticus holding both of his blasters. Some final thoughts on Bruticus. Design-wise, it looks really great. The colors of the individual Combaticons, they go well together in this combined mode. The addition of Shockwave as well, that light purple, I think really helps bring it together. Transformation-wise, it's not too difficult. Goes together pretty easy. The main problems mine were, the joint here for Swindle was way too tight. Playability-wise, it was pretty good for the most part. The biggest problem here is that Vortex, his combiner peg, is way too loose. So if you have anything in this hand, it won't hold the arms pose too well, which is a little annoying. Durability-wise, he is pretty solid. There isn't too much I'd be worried about breaking as a combiner. Overall, as a set, there are a few pieces where the tolerances are a little bit too tight, so I'm worried about things stressing and breaking over time. But overall, Bruticus and the individual bots are pretty sturdy. And I think overall this is a really good set. I'm glad that I got it. It looks nice. It's fun to play with. I picked this one up on AliExpress for about $70 Canadian. And for Legend scale, you get these 5 guys together. I think it's a pretty good deal. But that's about all that I have to say. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I'll be putting up some more third-party videos in the future. Until then, thanks for watching.